Good morning, everybody. It looks like a typical setup, 10 o'clock at a trade show. We are sitting on one of the Beckhoff chairs, have a nice cup of coffee, and hopefully you got the same in your office or at home, wherever you listen to us. We appreciate that you're back for our last trade show TV, live and interactive, although we have a special up tomorrow. Nevertheless, of the official program, that's the last setup. And yesterday, I asked you in between of the session if you would be kind enough to write into the chat a little bit where you are listening to. So where are you sitting right now? Not which desk, but which city or country. And we had such a great response. So if you like to, we start right away with this. Write in your chat, either on our webpage or on LinkedIn, where are you right now? And use the chat anyhow to get in touch with us. Type in your questions, because we have our backup office, our expert team, and they are live answering your question as we speak, more or less. Or shoot an email to meet@beckhoff.com to make an appointment with us if you want to, or with the real experts behind the scenes. So this is theory. What are today's topics?
We will, of course, look once again into our two revolutionary introductions of this week. So XTS, NCT, they're a little bit on the use cases. And then Daniel will walk us later on through the soon-to-be MX product portfolio with all our I/O and motion components. But apart from this, we will look into operating systems. We will look on the metal housing I/O terminals for motion and on safety once again. So it's packed with technology and hopefully a little bit of fun for you as well.
And while we do this, I think we will walk around this big exhibit behind us, but we never stopped so far. So what is all about that?
Yeah, this sounds a little bit like a table tennis match, but it's not that. It's a picking XTS. So we are using the XTS NCT technology for a pick-and-place application. And the amazing thing is that we can do up to 6 parts per second with this machine. That's amazing when you look at usual pick-and-place lines.
Yeah.
And we will look on this tomorrow at our additional event, at our special XTS event, and there we will go in detail through this presenter and through the technology in general once again.
So all is set. We get up and we will take a look for our experts, which are with us today. And I will start around the corner with my colleague Thorsten. He is part of the I/O team. And Thorsten, good morning and welcome to our exhibition booth here. I remember years back, both of us had a chance to go to Switzerland to see one of our global customers, Georg Fischer, and they had a specific need in what we now call EJ modules.
Exactly.
So what is EJ all about?
Yeah, the EJ modules are pluggable onto a PCB, so the complete system is pluggable. We have the pluggable modules, the PCB, and to every machine module, the complete system is pluggable. We're working with predefined cable harnesses, as you can see here in these different applications. The modules are very compact, so it's very easy for the customer to integrate it into such a small sheet metal housing, so we save space in the machine. And all boards you see here on the board are always customer specific. So we develop the boards especially for the customers and their needs. So especially for the industry and the application. But it's also possible that the customer can integrate the EJ modules into their own electronic based on our so-called design guide.
So it's easy, it's compact. So it's all about saving costs, or what else?
Yeah, the customer can save installation costs. We avoid errors, of course, because the complete system is pluggable instead of using point-to-point wiring. And at the end, we have a higher quality of the complete machine because we copy the board again and again with the same quality. And if we pre-test the board, store the board, and later on the production worker grab the board out of a box, put it directly into machine, the test time is very, very short at the end. So we have shorter delivery times, and at the end, yes, of course, we save costs for the customer.
If such a system should fly, I mean, you need all functions we have. Our safety people make it very simple. They always color their things yellow, so you see, well, safety is on board.
Yeah.
What about the compact motion? Do you also integrate this into EJ?
Yeah, that's possible. Even the motion in these small form factor is possible. So everything you know from the EL world is also available in these form factor, EJ. Yep.
So a complete system basically for the backplane. So perfect start to introduce how EtherCAT actually make its way all to different terminals. Thank you. And now let's move on. I just took the buzzword motion already in mouth. And when we talk about motion, I would like to step up a little bit further on to Dieter, also part of our I/O team in product management. And now motion gets actually a new definition. Martin yesterday picked this metal housings for measurement technology. Now you have exactly the same housing in your hand, but why do you use this housing and what for?
Yeah, this housing is not only optimal to put in high-end measurement technology.
Okay.
I think it perfectly fits to integrate drive technology.
Now, integrated means what kind of drive technology is in such a small housing?
It's a servo amplifier, and we have here the possibility to generate, due to the metal housing, an electrical output power of almost 1 kilowatt. That means you can connect a servo motor up to 16 amp directly on such a compact Ethercat terminal.
Well, that's massive, 16 amp from
Yeah.
my point of view, in such a small form factor. So the metal housing offers cooling of the components, or how can I understand that?
Yeah, exactly. So we have an optimal heat dissipation due to this metal housing. So it fits perfect to servo technology.
Okay, so you just snap it into your small DIN array, basically. Now, I see here on your sample, you also have yellow modules again.
Yeah.
But I noticed from Martin the other day that they like to integrate safety into motion. Do you have the same here, or is this always standalone?
Yeah, these modules are an integral part of our I/O system. So you can, of course, combine them with all other terminals, also with safety terminals if you need it. But on these terminals now, with the safety option, we have an integrated safety logic, as Martin explained yesterday. So you can choose if you want to run the application, so the safety application, directly on the terminal, or on an extra safety terminal if you want.
Now, so simple, what number do I need to remember?
ELM, M for motion.
ELMM for motion. Well, Dieter, perfect, thank you.
Okay.
Now we make the switch over to the IPC department. This is normally my backbone, this is my core business, but today I put Felix in this spot by purpose to find out if he can also interview and understand IPC technology.
Roland, I will try to do my very best, but first of all, we have to say thank you to all our viewers, because you have done your very best to type in where you are watching from, and we can say hi to people from the UK, from Portugal, Belgium, Finland, Sweden. Tack for watching. Australia, so amazing that you are doing this before your bedtime. Slovakia, New Zealand, Japan, Denmark, and China, so people from all over the world are watching. Thank you for that. And I am here with Heiko, who usually takes care of the PCs to which you can directly mount Dieter's ELM terminals. But actually, Heiko, you have another big topic on your mind, which is about operating systems. And 2019, you introduced TwinCAT BSD, our own operating system. And I think a lot of things have happened since then. What happened?
Yeah, so since 2019 we started with a huge and comprehensive beta program for a lot of customers, and we get a lot of positive feedback from the field. And yeah, after the beta program we released TwinCAT BSD in the beginning of 2021, and now we have already a lot of these beta customers running their serial machines with TwinCAT BSD.
So I've learned over the last 3 days, and actually I knew a little bit before, that TwinCAT is a huge box. So there are many different tools for all kinds of use cases, and I imagine that it's a little bit of work to transfer them from our traditional Windows operating system environments to the TwinCAT BSD ecosystem. So how about that, about the functionalities and their availability?
Yeah, so first of all, you are right, it's really a lot of work because we have a very huge TwinCAT system over the time with all these functions. And so we could not immediately make all functions available in the beginning. So we started with, of course, with the core functionalities, but now over the time already we have now most of the TwinCAT functions are already available. And there is on the Beckhoff homepage, beckhoff.com, you can find the product finder from TwinCAT, where you see all the different TwinCAT functions, and then you can filter for the operating system. And if you set the filter for TwinCAT BSD, you see already which functions are available. And of course, we are continuously working to get more and more functions available for TwinCAT BSD if possible. Beside that, of course, a big news which we already announced on Tuesday was the TwinCAT BSD hypervisor, which will become also part of the TwinCAT BSD system, so that customers can also run Windows or Linux or other operating systems beside the real time. So if an application requires it, this is also now possible. And furthermore, we also make now .NET 5 available on the system directly. So in case customers like to have their own .NET application, which is platform independent, they can also now run it directly on TwinCAT BSD without the need of virtualization.
Okay, so a lot of things have already happened, but what does the immediate future bring to TwinCAT BSD?
Yeah, so the roadmap for next year is that we are heavily working on the graphical user interface. So as of today, we still have only the terminal running, so that you have to type in. And of course, we need an HMI, and therefore the plan is for the second quarter that we also are able to run a browser-based HTML5 HMI, of course TwinCAT HMI, directly on the system, and then we are functional-wise complete, more or less. And by the end of the year, by the end of next year, we plan also to have smaller controllers with ARM CPU, also running TwinCAT BSD, so that customers can then really scale from very small ARM-based PCs with TwinCAT BSD up to Xeon-based devices also with TwinCAT BSD, so they have the full range with one operating system.
Okay, thank you very much. So Roland, for you the positive message, TwinCAT BSD for all different kinds of hardware platforms. This is Zara's hardware platform, but traditionally Beckhoff is a Windows company, and Windows and Microsoft are hosting or are providing new operating systems every once in a while, and just in the last month, Windows 11 has been announced, and Jens, you are the expert for operating systems with us. So what about the usability of Windows 11 in an industrial environment?
Yes, Windows 11 is a new operating system of Microsoft, but for Windows 11 has often release cycles. That means every half a year Microsoft releases new versions of Windows 11, and these versions are only available for 3 years. That's not a perfect fit for our industrial applications and to control a machine. This means we need a long-term available operating system and an operating system which is stable. And exactly to the same time, the release time of Windows 11, Microsoft releases the new Windows 10 IoT Enterprise LTSC 2021. And this operating system is available for 10 years, so that means it's available until the year 2031. And I think this is optimal to plan with machines.
Okay, yeah, 10 years is actually it's a mediocre lifetime for a machine. I'm pretty sure there will be some solutions for after the 10 years. Is there anything else with this which is special about the new Windows 10 release?
Yes, Windows 10 IoT Enterprise LTSC 2021. It's a long name, I know. Yes, it's a complete Windows operating system with a desktop. That means you can install your HMI, you install your database, you can use all your Windows application in this operating system. This means in combination with TwinCAT, you have all the Windows features directly on the machine. And it's an optimal fit between the IT world and the automation world.
Okay, so Jens, I have learned 2 things. Microsoft has a new operating system with all the new features, which is perfectly suited for the automation world, and Microsoft in Redmond likes to make long product names. In East Westphalia, we also have long names, but they are our last names. So we have people in our company which are called Meier to Krags, Marcius Husmann, Otto vor dem Genschenfelde, or Hemken, Semken, Bömkenschnieder. This is actually no joke. But here with me I have Thomas, who does not want to talk about last names, he wants to talk about technology. We have introduced XTS NCT over the last days, but we have rarely talked about use cases. Thomas, what can you tell us about some use cases?
Yes, let's start with a bit of the refreshing. We introduced MCT, the no cable technology, and at the moment the XTS movers are completely passive. So there are no processing stations directly on the mover. With NCT we can bring active processors on the mover. For example, a handling station. You can see this handling station in the direct picture here. For example, when we pick up a product, transport it and place it down. It's really easy with the NCT technology. In this application, we show, for example, 2 stepper motors. And the control of this stepper motors is via our software platform, TwinCAT. So really standard platform, so everyone could use this with the normal CNC functions.
Looks a little bit like a gambling machine. I hope you're not losing money to it. But apart from this, the whole concept of NCT appears to me a little bit like a platform idea as we have it with MX. Is this actually about realizing different base functionalities with the NCT function?
Well, I think so, because at the moment the movers are passive. With energy and power on the mover, it's really helpful just to integrate standard circuits. And we are a real expert from Beckhoff in standard circuit boards, in I/O terminals or the EG system. It's really common, and so we also could integrate it. And another thing that's also really helpful in this case, these are just 2 motor modules in one mover. A typical XTS application consists on several motor modules and a multiple number of movers. When there's a closed turret path, like we have movers on it, we just have to drive in circuits. So not like a robot arm, start and drive to a position and come back. So we save time and are more efficient.
So please tune in tomorrow when we have more information about XTS NCT with Thomas, Uwe, Rob and Jan Achterberg. So I guess this will be very, very interesting. Thomas, you are my favorite office buddy because we are sitting in the same office, but the XTS is only my second favorite mover system, and now I have to go to Roland for the real test of the week, I guess.
Yeah, and I was waiting for you and looked at this demo, and I feel like the snake in Jungle Book, a little bit hypnotized, looking always to these fast-moving tiles here. Now, we are double trouble this week because we have our product management job and we are the industry actor. Now I would like to challenge you on your product management job, okay?
Let's try.
Here are the rotating tiles of our explainer system, and this is an amazing improvement. Now, it took a while to present this, and why does it took so long until you finish this function?
I think that's deeply connected to our continuous learning process.
Okay.
Originally, tiles and movers, the coils inside the tiles and the magnets inside the movers are perfectly designed for XY operation. So moving in one plane, up and down, tilting a little bit, but they are not so good, so perfectly designed to create a torque around the center axis of the explanar mover. But we have a big working group inside Beckhoff, which are experts for magnetic fields, for Lorentz forces, for Maxwell equations, and they have figured out a way to energize these coils, which are originally designed for XY motion, to make the mover rotate.
Now, to do so, I'm sure we need a new tile, or do we just plug in or just download a new piece of software?
No, it's PC-based control. I think you are smiling now because it re-emphasizes the need of having a central controller. So we are just doing a driver update. We do not need any additional hardware. Actually, we have introduced a rotation tile in 2018 when we introduced Explanar, which costs €400 more, but we did not do it because we can do the same with our standard tile and just with a software update. So perfectly reusable and a new feature via update.
So it is the flying plate as we described before, and now it rotates. How fast does it turn?
I think 1,500 revolutions per minute for the small movers are possible. But we have done more in the lab, but we are not sure if we should release it. It could get dangerous.
Watching the last James Bond movie, it's like, well, I put my martini on top and I can shake the martini. I think in real life we have other applications in mind.
Yes, we have other real-life applications, even though this would be pretty useful. So what one company from the south of Germany in Memmingen has done, the company Stober Sondermaschinenbau, they have built an inspection machine. Explanar unites the capability of transporting products and of presenting them in front of a camera, for example. And they are having round milled objects, for example, a small cylinder, and they are inspecting this cylinder from all sides. So they do a 360-degree operation of the product, and in case something goes wrong, they just go to one of the exit stations of their machine. So everything well integrated in one system without any maintenance need, and also looking very nice.
You notice something? This is real passion. Besides being an industry actor, he is Mr. Explainer. I give you a minute off, and I will jump over to the TwinCAT team because we have further news. And okay, I go this way. Here we are back again. Welcome again. Now I got Fabian with me, one of the product managers of the TwinCAT team. And by purpose, we position here on this wall because it's all about artificial intelligence and machine learning. Machine learning is a buzzword in the industry. And I think you should give us a little insight what we do with machine learning and why it's important.
Yeah, sure. So 1.5 years ago, we already introduced the first products for TwinCAT Machine Learning, which is the TwinCAT Machine Learning Inference Engine and the Neural Network Inference Engine. So both products run neural networks or classical machine learning models in hard real time inside the TwinCAT runtime environment on our standard IPCs or embedded PCs. So the key fact is its execution is happening in hard real time, which allows us, for example, very cool applications like our XDS presenter over here. So where we synchronize movers to products on a conveyor. It also allows us to realize even the explainer system, or like on Tuesday, where Angela introduced the TwinCAT anti-cogging for linear motors. So we also use it internally in our products.
So when we prepared this little interview, you also told me that our customers are these days asking also for a deeper way of integration, so for deep learning.
Yeah.
So can you put some light on this buzzword?
Yeah, sure. So, when it comes to machine learning, so I had many conversations with customers, and I think every second customer said, "Hey, we also use a GPU for deep learning, or for really big neural networks that we use." So deep learning uses very big neural networks, so very deep ones, many layers, complex operations. This also, of course, affects the execution time. The execution time goes high on standard CPUs. And so then we said, okay, let's tackle this problem. So because there are really important applications in industry. For example, if you have a look on end-of-line testing, where you do surface inspection, you want to inspect scratches on a surface, or just say this product is okay, not okay. You want to count objects. For example, you have a blister and you want to count the tablets in this blister and just say, okay, this product is complete. So these are applications that you can really nicely realize with deep learning, but those networks have really high execution times. And so we introduce now the TwinCAT Machine Learning Server, which is also an inference engine, but the execution is happening not in real time, but in an operating system process. But from there, we can access the hardware accelerator like a dedicated or integrated GPU. Of course, we can still use the CPU. That's not a problem. But we now have the ability to also run on GPUs.
And that's a good point, because if I would look underneath our explainer system, then you would have seen our server PC. And now we will take a look into hardware, and we turn around to my colleagues Fabio, because Fabian and Fabio now is from the PC department, and we are also announcing a brand new PC, which works perfect in combination with machine learning. And that's the C6675. So what's the secret behind the new IPC?
Yeah, actually I think many customers think that this device looks very familiar, as you have mentioned, in comparison to the C6670, the big server CPU that we are using also together with TwinCAT for machine builders. But maybe I should start with the smaller one, the C6640, also a well-known device. And in this case, you can see what we already support regarding hardware acceleration and integrated GPUs. Here we are using a standard ATX motherboard of ours, well-known, well-tested. And we plug in a Tesla T4 card with a low power consumption. So this is already possible.
I can take it.
Thank you.
All right.
But of course we need, as Fabian has already mentioned, sometimes more GPU power. And this is what we have designed the C6675 for. So here again, we have the big housing from the server CPU, but inside we are using the standard ATX motherboard, just like in well-known C6640, for example. And right here, customers now have the possibility to benefit from the large housing and the big power supply with 600 watt, and insert graphic cards with up to 300 watts of power consumption. So this is what customers now can do.
So we have the Beckhoff self-made mainboard of our existing PCs put in the Beckhoff self-made housing of the bigger ones for a perfect match. Not everybody needs extra GPU power. I think it's still a scalable system, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. You know, the ATX motherboard and these devices, they are quite well known, and the prices, I think, are quite well known, but graphic cards can be expensive. So when you have the need for this performance, you can do this, you now have the possibility. But of course, you can use also our existing devices, like the ATX motherboard, or for example, like the Xeon CPUs we are already using for the CX systems, for example. Also here we have a dedicated graphic integrated that can be used. And of course, you can also use the integrated graphics of a C6030, for example. This is not the performance we have in our server housing, for example.
Yeah,
but I can separate now really the machine learning task, for example, to the GPU and use the CPU also for my other tasks.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, Fabio. So machine learning is a software function, or more actually a software system, but it also sometimes requires dedicated hardware, and the C6675 is a new addition. Now, having Fabian here from the Trinket team brings me to another question, because I don't want to skip your expertise in our vision application. Trinket Vision is also part of our Trinket system, and maybe we can just put a little glance on some highlights of Trinket Vision.
Yeah, sure. So TwinCAT Vision is really good now in the market for one and a half year now. It's been released, and so it's a great product. So you have the ability to integrate gig vision cameras, so vendor independent, into our system. You have the ability to configure those cameras from the TwinCAT engineering environment, and we offer a real-time image processing library for PLC programmers. So that's really great. And of course, we have some additions. With the latest version now, we can, for example, add more functions to the PLC library. For example, for key point matching, for example, or if you want to calibrate your line scan cameras. So many different functions added to the PLC library. So I just encourage our customers to have a look on it. So many hundreds functions in there. So it's just too huge for this moment here. What is also new is that we now have the ability to see images inside the TwinCAT measurements, or inside this TwinCAT scope. With the latest vision release, that's also possible. And we now have a wizard for something like the startup list for our EasyCAD terminals. So if you shut down your camera, power off, you power on, and you have the vendor-specific parameterization of the camera ready.
Okay.
But if you want to start up and you want to have always your specific configuration, you can now use this startup list, and you're sure that every time your camera powers up, you have the same the right configuration. And this is also vendor independent.
Okay. Wizard is a word which came along several times this week, because we really make it easy. Easy is also a good point when I see our HMI here. So these are the vision control functions right into the Trinket HMI. I think it's already integrated. Is there more to come on Trinket HMI? Other controls on the way?
Yeah, definitely. So for example, the integration of EasyCAD diagnosis into our Trinket HMI. So it's a full control in the HMI. We automatically generate the complete EasyCAD topology, and we can stream in the online data into the HMI. So you can really have a deep look into your EasyCAD topology, do troubleshooting. We also provide remedies if something happens, for example, some communication issues. It's completely integrated now in the TwinCAT HMI, which also allows us or our customers to do easy debugging or offer remedies, even if you don't have TwinCAT engineering on site. But the TwinCAT HMI on the machine is enough.
Basically, every new Trinket build has new functions, possibilities, features. So thank you, Fabian, for this information. And for me, it's time now to switch back to Felix, and he is in our safety corner.
Yeah, it's all yellow once again, and Martin, for the last 3 days you have been talking continuously about the integration level of all our safety components. And now I think Dieter has sneaked a motor on your safety wall. How did that happen?
Well, it's basically part of our modularization, because in the drive technology everything started with the big drives, with the AX5000 and the AX8000, and now we have motor integrated drive technology, big one, and compact drive technology, and in each new component we integrate our TwinSafe component. So even in Dieter's AMI modules you have a motor, a drive, and the TwinSafe option. So basically, analog to the big drive technology, you can do the same safety functions in the little AMIs, for example.
Okay. So you see, we are working together across the different departments and across the different product sections. Safety shows this, NCT shows this, the MX system shows this. And to make sure that we can work at all as a company, we need an infrastructure. We need an infrastructure where we can live and breathe and where we can be creative. And many of these projects, which are not closely related to a certain terminal or a motor, are on the shoulders of Friederike. For example, our website, if you've seen this over the course of the last month. And Roland has now Friederike by his side, and they are going to talk a little bit about responsibility and the future for Beckhoff.
It was already my pleasure 2 days ago to welcome Johannes Beckhoff, who is in charge of our explainer system. And now, on the last day, it's a pleasure to have Friederike here, also part of the Beckhoff family, obviously. And after all the way through studies in Germany, in London, and wherever you have been, you're in the company for many years now. But instead of creating all new things in the beginning, you took care the last year and a half exactly about Corona and our responsibility. And I think it's worthwhile to spend a few seconds on our activities and how we would like to overcome the situation as a company and also as a part of a community here.
Yes, thank you, Roland. I think COVID-19 has really been exhausting for a lot of us during the last 2 years, and the pandemic quite cost us a lot of time and also a lot of money to take care of everyone, but I think it's our responsibility to do so. Because during the last 2 years, we've learned that one of the most important things in life is the health. And we have the responsibility for all our colleagues and also for the customers to take care of this special value. And with the decision not to go to or not to be there at the exhibition in Nuremberg, I think it was the right decision, although of course we were really sad about the decision, but this is a thing we need to take care of. And if I look now at everything we've done here so far, I think the alternative is quite acceptable.
Thank you. You are right. But besides building this up, I think we put a lot of efforts also into vaccination, testing, and all these things.
Yeah, that's correct. So we came up already 1 year ago, or even a bit more, with our own test center, where we're going to test like 50 to 150, 200 colleagues a day, actually. And we also came up with our vaccination center. Just yesterday I've worked there, for example, and we were able to vaccinate plus minus 500 people. The demand is quite high, either for the third shot, for the first shot, so there are a lot of people who are really aiming for it. And I think it's really important to make it as easy as possible for everyone to get vaccinated. And this is some of the activities we are quite undertaking for the last 2 years. And I'm really happy to say that so far we really secured the company. So during the entire time of the pandemic, all departments were working, the entire company was functioning, and I think this is something really important we took care of the last 2 years.
Yeah, I think that's a good message also for those who are listening. Go get vaccinated if we overcome the pandemic.
Yes.
But I'm sure Friederike started not as a vaccination expert or Corona expert, because I think we would like to use her expertise to move Beckhoff into future growth. And that's one more question I got on my line card here. So what are the next steps? You are in charge when we go to, your dad said 2 billion, 3 million. So it's not only product, it's much more than that.
Yeah, these are quite big numbers actually, and I myself, I'm 29, and I have a lot of respect for this growth we are currently, we need to take care of and we need to handle. And I think after overcoming the pandemic, hopefully next year, there are a lot of things we need to take care of, because the growth is not just there. There are a lot of other things we need to take care of. If I look at the entire production side, all the facilities, all the production things we need to take care of if it comes to warehouse it, if it comes to raw materials, if it comes to shipping everything. There are so many processes which we need to take care of, because the growth just happens like this. We need to produce and be able to ship all these things. Next to it, our sales force globally, I think we really even more need to grow our sales force everywhere in the world, because with all the products you already could see during the last days and also tomorrow, you see that there is so many expertise we need to bring into the field. That means we need to grow our sales force. And last but not least, our administrative part, I think it's really important to remember that we need a backbone and infrastructure for the company to grow. And you know, my dad always says, engineers must save the world. And I think this is quite true, and I'm really a fan of this quote actually. But during the last 5 years while I'm working in the company, I recognized that the best engineers also need an infrastructure to grow in and to be able to create and develop new things. And this is one of the things where I think we also need to focus on during the next years.
And honestly, I'm so happy that you have so much passion in these topics because I totally believe that we need this passion and this knowledge and this expertise to move on and to offer you future growth. Well, perfectly. Thank you, Frederica. Thanks for being in the company.
Thank you.
But still, we are Beckhoff and we talk about products, so I would like to finish also this slot now with another glance into our new modular system. And that's why we have Daniel here on board. And Daniel, as a responsible product manager, will give us another update on our MX system. I am sure all of you understand the system as it is to replace the cabinet, but what is needed actually to do so. So let's go step by step through the components, and you told me I should start with the base plates,
Yes,
right?
we start with the base plates. This is the base of the system, is the base plate. And so we have the one-row base plate system with data connectors, then we have a double-row system with a power connector also. And then there will be a three-row system also, but that's something for the future. And this thing, the data means that we have EtherCAT and 48 and 24 volt DC power inside. The power connector means 400 volt AC and 600 volt DC for DC link bus for drives applications.
Okay, so it always comes, but with an I/O
Yes.
on top, and then in addition, we have the different power sections, right?
Different power sections, yes.
Okay, now, it was easy to plug it together. Let's go through the different plug-in modules, and the first part is what we've done all the time. It's PC, I/O,
Yes.
and motion. So what is planned over there?
Yes, it is PCs. It's like this one. This is a bigger PC. We have also smaller PCs. It's very similar to the existing portfolios. It has the same technology inside. The same is also for the I/Os. We have digital inputs, analog inputs, safety inputs. We have this compact drive technology. Then we go to the next step. This is our motion technology. It's very similar based on AX8000. So we have the DC link bus. We have DC power supplies. We have one-channel and two-channel modules. So and then we also will offer in the future frequency converters.
And now for those of us who are working in cabinets in the past, we noticed that's not all. This is our backbone, but that's not all. So we need relays, we need other system modules. So what else is planned?
Yes, all else is planned. For example, these are motor starters for direct asynchronous motors to start them direct on the net. So it's also a new product for Beckhoff, but not new for cabinet. For Beckhoff, it's new.
And what about this module?
Yeah, this is our feeding module. I think it's our highlight because in this module we have so many technology inside. There is the terminals for the incoming cables. There are the fuses inside. There's a main switch inside. There's a 24 volt power supply inside, and there is also a power measurement unit inside. So that's normally nearly the half of the cabinet is inside this module.
Wow. So if you count all the modules, how many are we going to create in the first step?
In the first step, we have about 120 modules now, which are online on our homepage now.
So for those who are not able to remember all the words, you can just go to the web page and it's all there?
It's all there, yes.
Okay. The
With
products
pictures
are not there yet, right? Products will take a little while.
That takes a little time.
Yes.
But
all right, so I think this is really a highlight, especially because it's so simple. But let's see if I can challenge you, Daniel.
Okay.
If you have to give the 3 main advantages of the system for the customer, what do we need to remember?
Yeah, the system means lower efforts in all phases of building a cabinet, planning a cabinet.
Number 1.
Then we have the space reduction at the machine, in the building time also space reduction. And the last thing from my side is it's all intelligence. It's all EtherCAT components, and all components are intelligent. That is not normal for a cabinet today.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Daniel.
Okay.
Now, if you got an interest in the system, go to the webpage, take a look, and you will find further information. Now, here we are, almost done with the 3rd day of our homemade exhibition, and everything goes because there is a team behind. So, Felix, who is around us and who was in charge of this week?
We have many different people with us right now. There is, for example, Sarah, who is usually in our marketing department and who took care that everybody could speak and you could listen to them. Yeah. Of course, Dieter and Thorsten. And then we have Anna and Verena also from the marketing team, Markus from the exhibition team, which took care of building the booth. Niels and Ingo are standing there as well. So many different people were involved. And
Christina made the nice look.
Christina made us look nice, which is actually not so easy, I guess. And so many people were involved, and the best thing is that this was well received so far. So a couple of minutes ago, Tom Kovac from Slovakia wrote us that he was amazed by the live event and that he was congratulating us for making this very nice. So it's a little bit, some praising for ourselves now. But thank you, Tom, for the nice compliment, and it was well received, I think.
Now, what was the challenge of the week? The challenge was to communicate news about technology. So this was our goal, to show you what Beckhoff has planned all year long. And we would like to give you information how you can incorporate these functions to your machine. And I hope we got this technical message across the world. With all of you participating, you made us really happy. So we also tried to present some fun and amusement and not only pure boring technical information. And having that said, I wish you a wonderful rest of the week. Take care about yourself and the ones you love. And if we do this ever again, come back and join Beckhoff. Thank you for being here. And
Roland, I have one more thing.
sorry.
We had, guess how many participants we had? How many people were watching over the last 2 days?
10,000.
Almost, a little bit more?
15,000.
A little bit more.
16,000.
That's correct. 16,000 people have been watching. So thank
you.
you very much for receiving the event that well. And please tune in tomorrow for the XTS special.
Thank you, everybody, and take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I'm hot just like an oven. I need some loving.
Oh, nice.
Can't hold it much longer. It's getting stronger and stronger. Probably won't you give me this sexual healing? Work it out,
Applaus für die Kamera und Ton.
Healing, baby, is good for us. Sexual healing, darling, is good for us. Girl, body good, give me the feeling, girl, body good. I need the sexual healing, girl, body good.